Hello and welcome back to another episode of ABA Mom. I'm your host Allie, a board-certified behavior analyst and a mom of 5 amazing kids. Today we're diving into a topic that's super important in both the world of ABA and in everyday parenting, stimulus control. So whether you're a fellow BCBA, an RBT, a student analyst, a parent trying to navigate the complexities of behavior, or just someone curious about how environment influences actions, this episode is for you. So, what exactly is stimulus control? In ABA, we define it as a situation where the presence of a specific stimulus increases the likelihood of a particular behavior occurring. In simpler terms, it means that a certain cues in our environment can trigger certain responses or behaviors. So for example, think of a stop sign. When you see that red octagon, you know it's time to stop your car. The sign acts as a stimulus that controls your behavior of stopping. This concept is fundamental in shaping behaviors, and it's crucial for us as parents too. So let's break it down a bit. There's 2 concepts to stimulus control: discriminative stimulus and S deltas. A discriminative stimulus, or an SD, is one that signals availability of a reinforcement for a particular behavior. So for example, if your child knows that if they sit quietly during story time, they'll get a sticker afterwards. Sitting quietly becomes more likely when they're in the story time setting if they really want a sticker. So on the flip side, an S delta is a stimulus that indicates that reinforcement is not available for a behavior. For example, if your child is playing with their toys and you said that they can't have dessert until they clean up, the toys serve as an S delta for not getting dessert. So as parents, understanding that stimulus control can help us shape our child's behavior in a positive way. Here are a few practical strategies that you can use at home. Create clear cues. Establish specific routines or cues that signal when it's time for certain behaviors. For example, when using a timer for homework, you can signal to your child that it's time to focus. Reinforce desired behaviors. Make sure to reinforce the behavior you want to see more often. If child cleans up their toys when asked, provide praise or a small reward. This reinforces the connection between the cue, your request, and the behavior, which is cleaning up. Reduce S deltas. If there are distractions that might lead to unwanted behavior, to minimize them. For instance, if your child struggles with screen time during dinner, considering putting the dice away during meals. Consistency is key. The more consistent you are with the cues, the consequences that follow, the stronger the stimulus control will be. Children thrive on predictability. Now, I just want to share a personal story. So I was noticing that one of my children were throwing tantrums when it was time to leave the park. To address this, I started using a visual timer. When the timer went off, it signaled that playtime was over. So at first there were some protests, but we stuck with it. And eventually they began to associate the timer with the end of play, and the transition became smoother. It's a work in progress, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's something that I've also used with other families. Sometimes having that visual cue or timer can be so helpful when it's time to transition. So as we wrap up today's episode, I just want to encourage you to think about the cues in your home. What are some stimuli that control your child's behavior? How can you adjust those to encourage positive actions? Remember, it's about creating an environment that supports behaviors you want to see. So remember, you can increase any behavior. So you want to increase the ones you want to see more of, right? Not the ones we want to see less of. So thanks for tuning in to today's episode of ABA Mom. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with other parents or other professionals who might find this beneficial. You can also connect with me on social media for more tips and discussion. Until next time, keep nurturing those behaviors, and remember, you are not in this journey